Hey guys, welcome to Brian's Man Cave. So today I'm going to be doing a game name challenge. Apparently this is going around, people are tagging each other. The Atari Creep tagged me on this, and Linda aka the Gamer Girl tagged him on this. And so I thought this would be kind of fun. Now there are some kind of rules that it has to be physical games, I guess, games that you actually can hold up and not just games that you've played in the past and you don't own anymore. Also, you have to use your name, all the letters in your name, to spell out each different game. And like the Atari Creep did, he could have used his first name, Chris, but he went with the Atari Creep based on his channel name. And so I thought, hey, why not do the same thing? I could do that too. So I'm going to do Brian's Man Cave. Why not? I could have just did Brian, but that's only, 5 letters. Let's make it a little bit more challenging. Now, the other thing is, too, that the Creep, he did his with just Atari games. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do any games that I have, because I don't call myself the Atari Creep, so I don't have to stick to Atari. Anyways, let's get to the list. I'll try and go through these as quick as I can, so it's not, too long of a video. So the first one is for B, and that's Burger Time. Now, if you've just seen my latest video, I talked about my top 10 in television games, and this one was in the list. Obviously, it's one of the better games on the system, just based on its sound, its graphic, its gameplay. It's just one of the best games out there when you have an Intellivision. Definitely B, Burger Time. Next is R, so I chose Rad Racer for the Nintendo. This is Rad Racer 2, actually. This is the one I bought. I never, had experience with it when I was younger. I remember I was really into this game called Chase HQ, which is for the arcade, and I wanted to find a game similar to it. And I went to Toys R Us, and I saw this in the showcase, and I'm like, Rad Racer, that looks cool. And so I bought it, and I had a heck of a lot of fun with this game. I've played this more than I've actually played the original one. I don't even have the original one, actually. I've only played it on the emulator. So that's R. So the next one we have is I for Impossible Mission. This is the Wii version, Nintendo Wii's version of Impossible Mission. Now, personally, I love the original one, which was on the Commodore 64. I don't actually have a hard copy. Like, I have a disc of it, like, with this, like a saved file from, a long time ago, but not the official release of it. But this game is one of my favorite games. I love that it came out on the Wii. I know it's also on Nintendo Switch, and I've been, debating whether I should actually just pull the trigger and buy it for the Switch too, or at least download it onto my Switch. Because, frankly, playing this game with the Wii controller really sucks. But yeah, it's still a good game. Now for A again. Did I have A yet? Or maybe this is first A. Astro Smash. Another Intellivision classic. I remember playing this for hours on end when I was a kid. It's not one of my favorite games, but I definitely put a lot of time into this one. It was just a go-to game, just a feel-good, put it in, and just blast some rocks. I'm really excited to see this game made its way onto the new Intellivision Amico. We've been seeing some highlights of it and some different gameplay, so this is definitely going to be, on my list of, great games to play. Now for N. This was a little challenging. N was challenging, but I thought about it, and I thought NHL, well, this is NHL 96. NHL 94 was the first one I ever played, and it was on a PC. It wasn't on a console or anything. And I got hooked on it. And to be honest with you, I wasn't really into hockey. I didn't really know hockey at all, anything about hockey. And I started playing it on a PC, and I got hooked. And then I kind of got into hockey just from that one video game. So then I played NHL 94, and then NHL 95 on Sega Genesis, and then NHL 96 on the Super Nintendo. So pretty much any of the NHL titles around that era are what I really enjoyed playing. And for the S in Brian's Man Cave, we have Smurf Rescue at Gargamel's Castle. This one's the Atari 2600 version, but I love the ColecoVision version as well. I mean, they're very, very similar. There's some level differences here and there, but the gameplay is awesome. It's not a challenging game by any means, but it's still fun. And it was the reason why I wanted, one of the reasons why I wanted to get a ColecoVision was just to play Smurf Rescue. So, and then I later on found out it actually existed on the Atari 2600, so I ended up picking up this as well. Now we're on to the man part of Brian's Man Cave. So I picked an M game that I thought was just an interesting game, and that's Microsurgeon for the Intellivision. You see there's a few Intellivision titles here. This one I thought was interesting because I've never played a game like this. You're literally doing surgery. Well, not to the literal extent of actually operating, but you are going through a human body and you are doing stuff inside a human body. So it's really interesting, a really different approach to a game. I love that the Intellivision had a bunch of games like that you just never played on any other system. This game just really impressed me, and I had a lot of fun playing it. I'm probably going to play it again a few more times. For the A, I guess this would be the second A, I picked Adventure for the Atari 2600. Another game that I didn't know it existed when I was a kid, because I didn't grow up with an Atari 2600. I grew up with an Intellivision. I played Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, but never heard of Adventure, and then I found out about it later on, and I was kind of blown away that this existed on the Atari. And it's an old game too. It was like one of the first, sets of games that came out for the Atari 2600. Really innovative for its time. Just gonna put that there. So then for the N for man, we have NES Open, another title that got me into a sport that I was never really into in the past. In fact, it was the Game Boy one and this one that really got me into golf. Funny enough, I bought the Game Boy one, which I think was just called Golf, and I started playing it. I had to get my stepfather to tell me what the heck was going on. And then I bought this, and I was really hooked on this game. I played this a lot, over and over again, until I literally completed it, like the tournament thing where you get to the $100,000 or whatever it was. But I really enjoyed this. This is probably my favorite golf game of all time. Now we're on to the Cave part, C-A-V-E. And I wanted to choose Castlevania, but I ended up picking Castlevania 3. Mainly because this was my first actual Castlevania game that I purchased. I've played Castlevania 2 in the past. I think my friend had it, or he rented it or something like that. And Castlevania 1, I only played on the Commodore 64 at the time, and it was a friend's Commodore 64 that had it. So this was my first Castlevania game. And I love this. I played it so many times. I beat it with every single character that you can choose in there. You could be Alucard, you could be, the names aren't coming to me right now, but they're all different characters you could be. Really fun game, and it brings back the original Castlevania feel to it. So I really like that they did that. So now we're on to the A, and I mentioned this earlier with Adventure, and that is Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Again, I've talked about this game many times. It's definitely on my top 10 list of Intellivision games. I loved playing this game. This was the game that was probably one of my more favorites to actually play. I always talk about Donkey Kong, and I'm a big Donkey Kong fan, but when it actually came to having fun playing a game, this was it. I just loved this game. And this was the first game I had to track down when I rebought my Intellivision. When I finally tracked down getting myself an Intellivision, this was the game I had to have. And funny enough, I found it in a pawn shop. Well, I think it was a pawn shop, not a pawn shop, an antique store actually in a small town where my grandmother lived. And the guy wanted $7.50. I'm like, why is it so much? He's like, oh, because this is Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. And I'm like, so what? But anyways, yeah, I bought it anyways. It's complete in box and everything, and I just love this game. I can't say enough about it. Now for the V in Cave. This one was an easy one for me. Venture. I've talked about this game also quite a bit on my channel. Venture is one of, again, much like the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, Venture is just, it's a full-on you're doing a whole bunch of things. You're looking for treasures, you're shooting enemies, you're going into various rooms, you got multiple levels. This was fun back then. I mean, obviously games today are a lot more advanced, but back then, to me, this was like a huge game. This was like a lot going on. I needed to know, like I had a lot of time before I would start playing this game. And so I really enjoyed Venture. So it's one of my favorites, and it's really good on the Atari, and it's really good on the Coleco. So really great game. Last of the Brian's Man Cave, we have E, and this was another head scratcher. Originally, I wasn't going to copy the Creep at all. I wanted to do all original ones that he didn't use, but I did it anyways, and that is E.T. And as you can see, I'm not holding up the cartridge, I'm holding up the manual. And in the Atari Creeps video, he talked a little bit about that a lot of people think this game is crap, and most of the time it's because they didn't read the manual. And he talked about that as, you know, once he read the manual, he was good to go, and he was able to play the game. Same with, you know, the Raiders of the Lost Ark he talked about. Now, again, I kind of reiterate what he said. This game was fun to me when I first played it. In fact, I remember playing it on a friend's ColecoVision, so I guess they had the expansion pack, the Atari adapter, hooked in there because I was playing E.T. on their ColecoVision, and I was hooked on it, and I just wanted to keep playing it. Unfortunately, I didn't have my own Atari. I didn't have the ColecoVision set up that I could plug in an Atari. I had nothing to do. You know, I could not play it. So when I eventually got my Atari, this was another game I had to track down. Even though, you know, it is kind of a difficult game at times, and it can be frustrating. Sure, you fall into the pit, you get up, you fall back into the pit. But Howard Scott Warshaw did a brilliant job translating the movie into a game. Anyways, those are my, well, I guess, name game. I know we're supposed to tag people or something. I'm not really big into that myself, so sorry about that. But like the Creep did, it's an open tag. So anybody that watches this video, you're welcome to throw your list down below with your name, or make a video response. You could do it to my video, you could do it to the Creeps video, you could do it to Linda, aka the Gamer Girls video. This is all about having fun. Anyways, hope you like the list. Hope you subscribe. Talk to you later.